So you're doing everything right for your testosterone, from eating clean, lifting weights, maybe even on TRT. But if your gut is inflamed or dysbiotic, your hormones are still underperforming. This video is about what most people ignore when trying to boost testosterone, the gut. This is your second brain. It regulates how well your body absorbs micronutrients, detoxifies estrogen, manages inflammation, and even signals your endocrine system. If you overlook this, you're building your health on sand, kind of like the luxury high rise in San Francisco that skid proper foundational depth. It looked impressive at first, but started to sink. Millions of dollars have been lost because of the groundwork was rushed. Your health is no different. If your gut, the foundation, is unstable, everything else on top will eventually crack. As a doctor specializing in hormone therapy and functional medicine, I have seen firsthand how fixing the gut dysfunction transforms testosterone levels, even mental clarity and energy in men who were otherwise doing everything else right. By the end of this video, you'll understand the gut-liver axis, the link between dysbiosis and aromatase, and how leaky gut can suppress testicular function. We'll also cover what test matters, which probiotics and peptides are worth your time, and how to build a sustainable lifestyle that supports testosterone for the long haul. So, how does gut health affect testosterone levels? Let's start with this. Your gut is not just a food tube. It's so complex that researchers often refer to it as your second brain. It communicates directly with your central nervous system, regulating inflammation, processing the micronutrients, and even makes neurotransmitters. And when it's off, everything downstream, like your hormones, energy, mood, it all starts to misfire. So, how does this tie into testosterone? Well, imagine your body as a high performance car. Your hormones, like your testosterone, DHEA, growth hormone, they are your fuel and power system. But none of that matters if your engine is unstable, like your filters are clogged or fuel lines are leaking. That's what happens when your gut is inflamed or dysbiotic or leaky. Even if you're doing everything else right, from eating clean, lifting, even taking testosterone, you're not going to hit peak performance if your internal systems are compromised. And here's where most people get it wrong. Everyone looks at testosterone like it's the only ingredient that matters, like it's the meat in the hamburger, but testosterone isn't the whole burger. You've got the bun, the lettuce, the tomato, the sauces, the full stack. Without those other layers like gut health, liver detox, micronutrient absorption, insulin sensitivity, you're just chewing on a dry patty. It's too linear to say, oh, I just need to rise my testosterone and I'll feel better. Sure, it might help a little bit, but it's like bolting on a supercharger onto a stock Honda Civic and expecting it to handle like a race car. If you don't upgrade the frame, the suspension, and the fuel system, you're just burning out your engine. The gut is foundational. It breaks down the raw materials of your body that needs to make testosterone, like zinc, cholesterol, and B vitamins. But if your gut is inflamed or dysfunctional, you're not absorbing what you need, and your body gets stuck in stress mode, raising cortisol levels and downshifting testosterone. So before you chase your hormones, you've got to check the system that builds and regulates them. And for that, we always start with the gut. Can dysbiosis increase estrogen through aromatase? Yes, and it happens more often than you think. Think of the phrase, you can't outtrain a bad diet. Now, let me back up a second. In a healthy gut, you have a diverse ecosystem of bacteria that helps digest food, extract nutrients, and even maintain immune balance. But when that balance is disrupted through like antibiotics, stress, poor diet, or environmental toxins, you get what's called dysbiosis. That just means the bad bugs start to outnumber some of the good ones. This imbalance creates low-grade inflammation throughout the body. And here's the kicker. The inflammation ramps up the activity of an enzyme known as aromatase. Aromatase is responsible for converting testosterone into estrogen. The more inflammation, the more aromatase activity, and the more testosterone you lose to estrogen. This is one reason why some men on TRT still feel soft, bloated, or just feeling of disconnected and not quite yourself. It's not always about increasing your dose, it's about how well your body is processing and converting those hormones once they're in your system. By improving gut health, lowering inflammation, restoring microbial balance, and healing the intestinal barrier, you can reduce the burden on aromatase. That shift alone can dramatically improve your testosterone to estrogen ratio and how you feel on your day to day. This is always why patients that have more adipose tissue tend to have more aromatization due to chronic poor diet and excessive of adipose tissue around the midsection. Next question is, what is the connection between leaky gut and chronic fatigue in men? Leaky gut means that tiny little holes open up in the gut lining, allowing things like bacteria fragments and food particles to leak into the bloodstream, stuff that should never leave the digestive tract. When that happens, your immune system goes into overdrive, like it's fighting off a consistent infection. This drains your energy, messes with your focus, and throws your hormones completely off balance. Think of your gut like a well trained border patrol. Its job is to keep the nutrients in, but keeping the harmful stuff out. But when the gut is inflamed, that border tends to get sloppy. The spaces start to open up between the cells, and a protein called zonulin starts to rise. Acts as a signal to tell those borders to keep the gates open. The higher amount of zonulin, the leakier the gut. And the more junk starts to sneak into the system that was never meant to leave the gut in the first place. Imagine this like toxic runoff spilling into a clean water system. Everything downstream gets tainted. Your liver, your endocrine system, your brain, they all have to deal with the consequences. Once those toxins leak into your bloodstream, your body sounds the alarm. The immune system doesn't just defend, it overreacts, launching an all out attack that starts hitting everything in sight, including your own tissues. That internal stress response dials down your testosterone production fast. It's like your brain says, hold up, we've got bigger problems going on, and it shuts down everything that's essential right now, like muscle growth or sex drive. So that dragging fatigue that you feel, the brain fog, low motivation, it's not just in your head. It could be your gut pulling the strings. And here's the kicker. Some of those inflammatory molecules that can sneak into your brain, stirring up inflammation there too. That's when the gut brain axis starts to backfiring. If you're moody, foggy, or you can't find the usual drive, your gut might be the one jamming the signals. Chances are you've felt this before. Maybe after eating something greasy, processed, and suddenly you feel tired, irritable, maybe even a little bit anxious. That's not just food coma, it's your gut triggering a wave of inflammation that hijacks your mental state. The gut and brain are always talking. The question is, what kind of messages are they sending? Does probiotic really help testosterone? Some strains do make a difference. For example, there's one called Akkermansia meninsophila that helps strengthen the gut lining and cool down inflammation. But here's the thing, grabbing a random probiotic off the shelf isn't always the answer. A lot of these capsules don't even survive your stomach acid, so they never make it to where they need to go. Instead, think of it like planting seeds. You need the right kind of seed for your soil. Some probiotics, like spore based ones, are more durable and better and actually setting up the shop for your gut. These types are built to survive the trip to your stomach and start helping where it matters, in your intestine. This is where inflammation and hormone balance gets handled. And since inflammation is one of the biggest roadblocks in healthy testosterone, picking a probiotic that actually makes it to the gut and works is a key step. But let's zoom out for a moment. The average person thinks that probiotics is a one size fits all solution. Take a capsule, fix your gut, but it does not work that way. Probiotics are strain specific, and their effects depend on the terrain they are entering. If your gut is inflamed, low in diversity, or has imbalances, the wrong probiotic might not do anything, or worse, add to the problem. That's why taking a probiotic without knowing what you need is like picking up a random energy drink at the gas station. Some give you a boost, others leave you jittery, or worse, do absolutely nothing. If you don't check the ingredients or understand what your body needs, you're just guessing and hoping for the best. A truly strong and healthy gut comes from feeding a diverse microbiome with fiber, polyphenols, and fermented food. These are the raw materials that allow the good strain to thrive naturally. But it doesn't just stop there. A whole foods diet rich in lean proteins, healthy fats, and low processed sugar and seed oils create a stable environment where these nutrients can be absorbed efficiently and inflammation is kept in check. It's not just about taking a probiotic, it's about creating a habit where those beneficial microbes want to stay. When the gut lining has taken a beating, whether it's from antibiotics, food poisoning, long term use of NSAIDs, or even heavy drinking, or just years of processed food, it can get worn down and patchy. The protective barrier starts leaking, and your body pays the price inflammation, poor absorption, and sluggish hormone production. You can often see this on the outside. Think of the classic beer gut or bubble gut look. In some cases, the bubble gut can be related to growth hormone use, but that's a topic for another video. That's where the gut repair becomes more than just diet. In these tough cases, I'll bring something in like something a little extra, like BPC 157. This is a peptide that helps your body repair and rebuild damage of the gut lining. Think of it like sending in the construction crew after a flood. It helps your body to rebuild the wall, the layer by layer, by reducing inflammation, encouraging blood flow, and boosting collagen production. Once the barrier is strong again, everything else gets easier. Nutrients get in, inflammation goes down, hormone signaling improves. Fix the structure first, then everything else can do its job. So, how can I test if my gut is hurting my hormones? And if you really want to know whether your gut is sabotaging your hormones, testing is key. One of the best tools we have is called the GI MAP stool test. It gives us an inside scoop on what's living inside your gut: the good bacteria, bad bacteria, parasites, viruses, and even markers of inflammation. It also shows levels of beta glucuronidase, which is an enzyme that can cause estrogen to be reabsorbed instead of eliminated. To go deeper, we look at zonulin levels. That helps us understand if your gut lining is too leaky. When we round things out with blood work, markers like HSCRP for inflammation, liver function tests, and even nutrient panels to see if you're even absorbing what you're eating. And if we're trying to pinpoint food sensitivities or deeper micronutrient gaps, I turn to often specialty labs for their comprehensive panels. At the end of the day, low testosterone might just be a symptom of something upstream. If your gut is inflamed and your nutrient absorption is off, no amount of hormone therapy is going to fully land. You have to address the fire in the foundation first. If you can take one thing away from this video, let it be this: your gut isn't just about a food digestion. It's your body's foundation for hormone production, nutrient absorption, inflammation control, and even mood regulation. We've talked about how the gut connects to testosterone through nutrient delivery, detox pathways, estrogen balance, and systemic inflammation. So if you're wondering why your hormones aren't responding the way that they should, even when your workouts, diet, and labs look good, this might be the missing link. Gut health isn't just a detail, it's the chassis, the frame, the wiring harness for everything. Whether you're already on testosterone or just looking to support natural production, don't build on a weak foundation. Start here. Get the gut right. Everything else becomes easier. Catch you on the next video.